Hello and welcome to the Singing Buddha podcast. My name is Lucie Burns. I'm a coach and author of the book 15 Steps to Lasting Happiness. I'm also known as the artist, songwriter and music producer Lazy Hammock. In these episodes, I will be sharing my take on life from a creative and spiritual perspective, looking at ways in which we can tap into our limitless potential so that we are able to become our best selves, not only creatively, but also emotionally, physically and spiritually, enabling us to navigate our lives and emotions in a more balanced and grounded way within this world, whilst endeavouring to remain true to our core creative selves. Listen in to either start or continue on your journey of awareness and expansion, stepping into your own rhythm and unique flow, where together we can learn to let go, allow and just be, hopefully resulting in a deeper connection to ourselves, each other and the wider universe. Welcome to the Singing Buddha podcast, episode 2. Today's topic is the power of you and overcoming self-doubt. Now, being a musician, a creative, and also a teacher and a coach, I know that self-doubt is one of the most crippling things that I've seen for the creatives who I work with. And for me, self-doubt and the power of me has often been something that has come up as a block, in fact, in my life. And looking at it now, where I'm not in that place because of the sort of work that I've done on myself really and my own personal development work, I now know that I didn't honour myself 100%, because to honour yourself is to love yourself and to respect the gift of life that you have. There were many times in my early years where I didn't honour myself or respect myself or even see my life as a gift. And from all the hundreds of students or young people that I've worked with and adults, this not being able to honour self is a constant theme, and having self-doubt in their lives about themselves is what stops them becoming who they really are, and not just in everyday life, but who they are as a creative. Because if you don't believe in yourself fully, how can you be yourself fully? And how can you give to other people fully? And how can you expect other people to open their arms to you fully and their hearts to you fully if you don't open your heart to yourself? For many people, self-doubt is what holds them back from fulfilling their ambitions and dreams. And it does this, as I say, because of not honouring yourself and also not believing in the power of you. Each individual has been given a gift of life. And I sort of look at it like, imagine that there's a box, so it's like your birthday and there's a box. And that is your gift of life. Then within that box, when we open that box, those things in there are what we have to make out of our life. And we have these inner gifts, and they're ones that we have to find, which is like unwrapping a gift. And some people are able to find their gifts and their talents easily, and they start off in life with a desire to do something creative. It could be to write songs, it could be to dance, it could be to act, it could be to just be on stage, it could be to write, anything. But other people really don't know what they have. And many people believe that if they don't have a big thing in life, like to be a songwriter or to be an actor, they feel that they don't have a purpose. Now, every single person in the world has a purpose. And our purposes vary greatly. And our individual purposes are so important and valuable to the workings of the collective of all of us in the world. It is true that some people know their gift or their gifts from young. Other people develop their gifts over time. And more often than not, people stumble upon their gifts, often through some adversity and challenge in their life that has come. And often with challenge comes great insight into who you are, who you can be, and seeing the power of you and your impact on another person or on the society at large. Now, when I was talking a little bit earlier about the gifts that we have in degree, it's not that one is greater than the other, that the person that earns more has a greater gift, or the person who's more famous is a better person. No, not at all. You know, often the people that stand out and have the most impact on others' lives are the ones that go unnoticed, that go unrecognised, that no one knows that these things are being done. The person that will go and visit maybe an older person and chat with them for an hour, someone who's lonely, someone who will make sure that their friends are okay and will speak to them when they know they're down, someone who has a gift for listening and being able to instill confidence or self-belief in another person when they're not feeling great in themselves. These are gifts, and it's really important that we recognise our gifts. However small you may think they are, they may be massive to another person. Now, I recognised my gift or gifts a long time ago, and I always knew that I loved music, and I wrote songs from very, very young, and was able to write from very, very young, all genres of music, and I've written over 3,000 songs in my lifetime. But that wasn't the big gift. The gift that I recognised that I had, and the recognition, I suppose, started, but I didn't really know it until later on in my life. But it started after my father had died, and I was sitting on my mum's bed with her, and she was devastated. They'd been married for 47 years and loved my father like no other, and she was broken, absolutely broken. And I used to spend time with her each day and talk to her and sit with her and put my arm around her and even say prayers with her, because that's what she liked to do. And so I did that with her. And one day, after sitting with her for a while and with my arm around her, she looked at me and she said, "Lucie, please work with people." I wasn't 100% sure what she meant, but over the years I worked it out, and I realised that I had a gift of being able to uplift and inspire and connect with people of all ages. And I realised, though, that with this gift I had a massive responsibility, because when you know that you can uplift or inspire people, that gives you power. And power can always be used in two ways, for good or for bad. And I knew, obviously, that I didn't want to use it for bad. I wanted to use it for good. But I had to develop this over time with my interactions with the people that I work with, my clients, my students, all the people that I taught on my courses. And I knew that I had to respect the gift I had and the power that I had within that gift to use it for good. And then I started realising, and not even that long ago really, that although of course I want to be able to reach a lot of people, which looking back over the years I have, it's about the individual. It's about, for me, every individual that I work with or I teach or listen to or have some sort of interaction with, that they can come away feeling a little bit better than they did before they spoke to me. And that's not in any sort of egotistical way. That's in a way that I believe that changing things in this world is by doing it one person at a time. And of course we can do it en masse, and that's great as well. But it's not to take away the power of doing something for someone, one person at a time. Because the other thing that I became aware of is that if you can change something or give someone an insight into something in their life which they may be able to change, if you can do that for one person on one day, their outlook will be different, and all the people that they then come into contact with, it will have an effect on. And this ripple effect is what changes things in this world. Do not believe that the interactions that you have with people will not have an impact on the wider society. Every interaction you have with someone will have a ripple effect. Let's look at it like this. Imagine if you're on the tube or on a train or something. Chance would be a fine thing at the moment, but imagine if that was the case. And you accidentally stood on someone's toe as you walked past them. And they sort of leapt up in anger and said, "What are you doing? You just stood on my toe." Now, that would have an effect on us, because when that anger is directed at us, that doesn't make us feel good. And it wouldn't matter what headspace we were in before that, that would have an effect on our being at that moment. It's only through awareness that we then can choose to either carry that on to another person or not. And you have to be quite aware to know, okay, that's what happened, let's not take that any further. But it has an impact on us. So it's recognising that every interaction that we have with people has an impact, and an important impact. Now, as I said, I realised that my gift was being able to uplift and inspire people. And so I wrote down many years ago that my mission on this earth, and I wrote it down on a card, was to uplift and inspire people through words and music. So it didn't matter how it was done, whether I wrote songs, whether I wrote books, whether I spoke to people, whether I recorded myself speaking. Back in those days, there were no such things as podcasts. This is all new, but when I wrote this down, this was years and years ago, and it was really because I recognised what my mission was. So my mission wasn't being a songwriter, I don't feel, even though I was blessed with that gift and that talent and that skill. So songwriting wasn't the gift, it was the channel that I could use, or one of the channels I could use to reach people and impact their lives. So what I'd really love you to do is to really look into yourself and into your life and think about what it is that you have or that you do, however small it may seem. And I always feel that the small things are the big things. They really are the big things. And I think it's only when people reach the end of their lives that they look back and they realise that what they thought was small was big, and what they thought were the big things were the small things. And if you can get those around the right way now, it really helps with direction in life. Some of you may be asking, well, what's this got to do with overcoming self-doubt? Well, what this has to do with it is that if you really believe in you and how you are connected to the wider collective of society, the world, the universe, animals, nature, how we are all an integral part of that, then that helps to build our self-esteem, because we know that we are part of the wheel that keeps this thing going, but keeps it going in a way that we are happy with it going. We either add to the universe and to ours and others' experiences, or we take away. In general, as a person, our aim or intention is either to add to this experience or to take away from. So it's really looking at what goal are we moving towards. Now, many years ago when I started the practice of Buddhism, I heard one day when one of the leaders was speaking, them say, it's really rare to be a human being. And I thought that's an interesting point of view, or an interesting saying. I didn't really know what it meant, and I didn't really look into it either, to be honest with you. I repeated that phrase to people sometimes. You know, it's really rare to be a human being. Aren't we fortunate to be human beings? It's so rare to be a human being. Didn't even really look into it any deeper. And again, only in the last few years I've really looked into that and gone, gosh, it really is rare to be a human being. You know, what are the odds, really, if we look into it? Think about it. Let's go right back to the sperm and the egg. How many millions of sperm are trying to fertilise that one egg? So it is only the combination of one of those sperm, and that one egg, it's only the combination of those two things in that moment that made you. That is how rare it is to become a human being. It is incredible that you are you. It is almost impossible that you are you. But it happened. And you are here. And you are here to experience this incredible journey. This journey on Earth in physical form. We have a chance to experience this. Now, looking how rare it is to become a human being, what always puzzles me is how common it is for someone not to want to be themselves. Let's think about it. It is that rare to be you, that great a gift to have your life. Yet, many people don't want to be themselves and constantly look at others as being the person they wish they were, the person whose life they wish they had, the person whose experiences are better than theirs, the person who hasn't got any problems or hasn't got many problems, the person who looks better than them, the person who has a better looking partner than them, the person who has more money than them, the person that has a better job than them, the person that seems to have reached their goals, the person that seems to feel fulfilled, the person that has direction, the person that has positivity, the person that's confident, the person that, you know, the list goes on. And the more we look into this and the lists and what people are looking to gain from looking out rather than looking in, this is where the problem starts. These are the issues of self-doubt, and these are where some of them are sparked from. Because we do not honour our own lives. We are all born into circumstances, different circumstances. And some people believe that they chose the circumstances that they were born into, and some people believe that they were born into circumstances without choosing them beforehand. And it just depends what you believe. There's no right or wrong in your belief. That's your belief. But what I can say is the circumstances that you were born into are the circumstances, the perfect circumstances for you and your life. Because if they weren't, you wouldn't have them. How many times have you been in the most awful or painful or difficult situation that you never thought you'd see the light at the end of the tunnel, the pain that you were going through and that you were suffering? How often have you been in a place like that, but when you look back at it, and after you've gone through it, you see what you've learned from that and what you've gained and how it has impacted your life in a way where you become wiser, you become more aware, you become more in tune, your knowledge grows, you see why that happened, however difficult it was. Maybe you're not in that place yet where you're able to see how things and why things happened, or any benefits from anything that happened. Maybe you're not in that place yet. But I really believe that one day you will be in that place. And it's so hard when you're at a place where you can't see anything better for yourself or for your life. Now, most people's difficulties and problems start from young. This is where problems with their self-esteem start to kick in. Mine certainly did. I was adopted at 6 months old, and I was adopted into a really, really loving, beautiful family. And I had issues about my adoption and my birth parents. I also had issues with identity because I am mixed race and I was brought up in a white middle class family. And I also had issues with a member of my family who bullied me a lot. But another thing in Buddhism we say with the lotus flower, that often, well, with the lotus flower, it grows in a pretty murky, horrible kind of pond. Well, the pond's not horrible, but what it grows in is not nice. It's pretty dirty and murky and algae and all. But what comes out of that is beautiful. The lotus flower is absolutely beautiful. And so we look at that like, kind of a metaphor for life, that kind of toughest situations that we go through, that what grows from them can be really beautiful as a person or situations. And there's often an analogy that I talk to tell my students when they're really struggling to get through difficult times. And I heard this somewhere, I can't remember where, but imagine the bamboo shoot. So you've got a bamboo shoot and you have lots of notches all the way up the bamboo shoot. But in between the notches, there's a bit of bamboo shoot that just sprouts up without a notch on. And so we look at that like our lives, that actually we hit these notches, and these notches are really tough and we don't think we'll ever get past them or through them. And then what happens is, after that notch, there's a growth spurt. and the bamboo shoots up. And it's like our lives, there's some recognition and some awakening or enlightening or insight where we grow. And then there's another notch comes along, and we go through whatever that difficulty is in that time again, and then the same happens again, shoot up again. And life is constantly like this. It's a constant mix of sort of notches and growth spurts and awakenings. And the important thing is not to just keep moving forward without ever looking back, because if we don't ever look back, we never see how far we've come. And the problem is that most people tend to only look at how far they've got to go and not how far they've come. And I always remind myself to look back and see where I've come from, how far I've come, because that gives me confidence to move on. Now, as I said earlier, you are meant to be here. You have a mission, whatever that mission is. When I say that word, please don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be on this great big massive mission in the world and I've got to... No, I explained earlier that it's not about this great big massive mission, it's just about your mission. And our mission can change as well. We can do something for a period of time in our lives and then decide that we want to do something else, that it's right to make a different turn. And we change as people all through our lives. And what we maybe wanted or felt we wanted in our 20s is different in our 30s, different in our 50s, 60s, 70s. Because we keep evolving as humans, which is really important. So I want you to know that you are a really integral and important part of this beautiful machine called life. And we need you. We need you to be the best you can be. You can't be the best you can be if you don't believe that you are that. It would be great if each day you could tell yourself something that you're good at and something that you've done in the past that you're proud of. It's really hard for some people to do that, I know, to even say anything good about themselves. I remember back in the day when I didn't even love myself. I've gone through periods in my life when I've felt like I've hated myself, where I've just not liked being in the skin I'm in the body I'm in just in terms of the person, just because I was so unhappy. This is way back, but I've been in that place, and it hurts, and it took me a lot of work to get to a place where I believe that I'm worth something. I believe that I am worth something in this life, and that I love myself. And there's nothing wrong with loving myself as a person. It's important to me that I love myself as a person, because how can I be loved truly by anyone else if I don't think I'm lovable enough to love myself? So it would be great if you could do that, look at something that you've done where you feel proud of, something that you feel good about in yourself, or that you're good at, and start looking at the things in life that make you feel better about yourself, because I guarantee the more you look at things that don't make you feel good, the more you won't feel good. It's really important. Mind mastery and focus. I will be doing further episodes on things like this, but this mind mastery, this focus on what you can be, who you want to be in terms of yourself, and the things that inspire you. So read things that make you feel good about yourself. Read uplifting things. Watch things that inspire you. Speak to people that don't put you down or uplift you. So as I was saying earlier about when we're younger, and we often maybe have a difficult situation in our lives, or just many challenges that sort of shape us into who we are. Now, quite often what we do is especially if it's maybe people that have done that in a negative way, family or teachers or whatever, but we take that baton from those people who've behaved badly towards us and had such an input in our lives that we haven't felt good in ourselves, or we don't feel good in ourselves, and we take that baton like in a relay race, like they pass it to us, and we take it and metaphorically hit ourselves over the head with that same baton for the rest of our lives if we don't do something about it. We don't need them to carry on treating us the way they did or behaving the way they did, because we do it ourselves. We then continue to tell ourselves that we're worthless, that we're not good enough, that there's people that are better than us, that will never be as good as we know we could be. All of those things. And we got to stop this. We got to put down that baton. We cannot continue to do that to ourselves. I really urge you, if any of you do this, putting yourself down, not believing you're good enough, talking badly to yourself, please put that baton down. Talk to yourself like you talk to your best friend or someone you love. If you don't talk to yourself in the way that you talk to your friends, then you are doing great damage and disservice to yourself and your life. And if you're not talking in a loving way to yourself, ask yourself why. If your friend came and told you about something that they'd been through when they were younger, or something that they were suffering or had been suffering for a number of years, would you put them down? Would you tell them they are stupid? Would you tell them to just get over it? Would you tell them to just fix up, stop being silly? Would you tell them that, well, they're never going to be any better? Would you tell them that they are unloved? Would you? You know you wouldn't. So don't do it to yourself. Lack of self-esteem comes from the belief you have in the disbelief and self-doubt of yourself. Please start to see that it is so rare to be a human being that it couldn't possibly be just by chance that you're here. You are here because you're supposed to be here. 100% supposed to be here. And you have something inside you that is absolutely beautiful. And it depends on you whether you choose to show that to the world, or whether you decide to keep it hidden. I'm asking you to show it to the world. Thank you for listening, and see you in episode 3. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please follow, like, subscribe, or even write a review. If you would like to support the show and make a donation, you will find a link in the show notes. Alternatively, you can donate on my website. It will be gratefully received. For upcoming courses and retreats, sign up to my mailing list at lucieburns.com. If you'd like to hear more of my music, you can find it on all major streaming or download sites under my artist name, Lazy Hammock. If you have any topics or questions that you would like answered or discussed in future episodes, please send for consideration to thesingingbuddhapodcast@gmail.com. You've been listening to the Singing Buddha Podcast.